tabulation of data. So first of all, we will talk about what is tabulation of data. So the tabulation is just another way of summarizing and presenting the given data in a systematic form in rows and columns. So such presentation, it facilitates the comparison by bringing in some related information close to each other, and it also helps in further statistical analysis and interpretation. Now tabulation has been defined as such very nicely by a statistician called Tuttle, where he says that the logical listing of related quantitative data in vertical columns and horizontal rows of numbers with sufficient explanatory and qualifying words, phrases and statements in the form of titles, headings and explanatory notes to make clear the full meaning, context and the origin of the data. So this definition as such gives us the broad idea of the broad structure of statistical tables, and it also suggests to us that tabulation helps to organize a set of data in some orderly manner to highlight its basic characteristics. So now we shall see what are the objectives of tabulation. So some of the major objectives that we can talk about, objectives of tabulation. Firstly, to simplify complex data. So tabulation presents the data set in a systematic and concise form by avoiding the unnecessary details. So the idea over here is to reduce the bulk of information, that means the data under investigation, into some simplified and meaningful form. Then secondly, to economize the space. So by condensing this data in a meaningful form, the space is saved without sacrificing the quality and quantity of the data. Then next is to depict the trend. So when the data is condensed in the form of a table, this table can reveal the trend or pattern of the data, which otherwise it may not be understood in just a descriptive form of the presentation. That means just in the word problem, if a problem is given in words, then we may not understand this trend. But whereas if we tabulate this data, then we can reveal some trend or pattern. The next is to facilitate the comparison. So the data, when it is presented in a tabular form, which is of course having rows and columns, then we can quickly use it to do a quick comparison amongst the observations. Then we have to facilitate statistical comparison. So see, this tabulation is the phase between the classification of data and the presentation. So many statistical techniques such as the measures of average, dispersion, correlation, regression, time series, etc. can be applied to analyze the data and then interpret the results. And lastly, to help in referencing. So when the data are arranged in tables in some suitable form, they can easily be identified and can also be used as reference for future needs. So these were all the major objectives of tabulation. Now we are going to see one by one the parts of a table. So here first one is table number. So this table number, it should be numbered, that means the table should be numbered for easy identification and reference in future. So the table number, it may be given either in the center or side of the table or above the top of the title of the table. So if the number of columns in a table is large, then these can also be numbered so that easy reference to these is possible. So that is the importance of having the table number for a table. Then next we have the title of the table. So each table, it must have a brief, self-explanatory and complete title. Why this is necessary? So that it should be able to indicate the nature of the data contained. Then it should be able to explain the locality, that means geographical or physical, of whatever data is being covered. It should be able to indicate the time or the period of the data obtained. It should contain the source of the data to indicate the authority for the data as a means of verification and also as reference. Usually the source is placed below the table as such. So that is why title of the table is also important. Next we have caption and stubs. Now the heading for the columns and rows are called caption and stub respectively. That means heading for the column is called caption and heading for the rows is called the stub. So these headings, they should be, as such, they should be clear and concise. So sometimes two or more columns or rows with similar headings, they may be grouped under one common heading just to avoid repetition. So these kind of arrangements, they are called as sub captions or sub stubs. Each row and column, you can also number them for reference and also to facilitate the comparison. Usually the caption should be written at the middle of the column. Okay, so all this I will be showing you in the example for the table. So now we will see regarding the body of the table. So body of the table, it should contain the numerical information as such, and the numerical information is arranged usually according to the descriptions given for each column and row. Then next we have got the prefatory or head note. So this prefatory note is given just below the title for its further description in a prominent type. Sometimes it is enclosed in brackets and it is sometimes about the unit of measurement. Then finally we have got some footnotes. So footnotes, anything written below the table, it will be called as a footnote. It is written with the purpose to further clarify either the title or the captions or stubs. So let us say, for example, if the data described in the table is with respect to the profits earned by a company, then in that case the footnote may define whether it is profit before tax or after tax. So like this way there can be a footnote for the table. So there are various ways of identifying the footnotes. You can write footnote, either it can be with asterisks or some symbols or with small numbers, etc. These can be used to identify the footnotes as such. Now some information which is not available, it should be indicated by the letter NA, that means not available, or by dash in the body of the table. Usually the colon marks, etc., abbreviated forms, etc., should be avoided in the table. That is because the table should be clear. We should know what exactly that table has represented. So here we are seeing all the parts of the table which were discussed earlier. So first of all, here the table number and title is to be written. Then we have got the headings of the columns, that is called as caption. Now within this you can have one subhead. Then within that also you can have some column heads. Then stub heading is of course the heading for the rows. And now all these are the entries. Here you have to do the entries. This will be the total from both the sides. That means total for the rows, and this side we will have total for the columns. And then we can have a footnote or source note as such. So these are the different parts of the table. Now we will discuss about the types of tables. So this types of tables as such has been classified depending upon extent of coverage, then objective or purpose, nature of data. So within extent of coverage, within this we have got a simple table and a complex table. Then if we are seeing the type as per the objective or the purpose, then it is called as general or reference table or summary table. And if it is based on nature of data, then it is called as original table or derived table. So one by one we will discuss about the different types of tables. Over here in the first table, just we came to know how many candidates were experienced and how many inexperienced. Then in the second candidate, we came to know how many were experienced and how many were inexperienced according to the gender. And in the third table, we came to know not only how many were experienced and inexperienced according to the gender, but we also came to know the qualification level. So that was the additional information. So one-way tables are called simple tables, and two or more characteristics, if they are being presented in a table simultaneously, then such tables are called as complex tables. Now general and summary tables. So these general tables or summary tables, they are also called as reference or repository tables. So in such a table, the data are presented in detail so as to provide information for general or reference use on the same subject. So such tables are usually very large in size and they are generally given in the appendix for reference. So some various people as such, they have identified the purpose of such tables. Okay. Now these data published by various ministries, autonomous bodies or institutions pertaining to maybe employment, production, public expenditure, taxation, population, etc. They are the examples of such general and summary tables. Then next we will talk about the original and derived tables. So these original tables, they just contain the data which is collected from some primary source. But on the other hand, if the data is derived, like we will see with the help of an example, then it is called as a derived table. Okay, so talking about the original tables as such. So over here, some data has been presented on the basis of some situation. What is the situation? That one state government has taken up some scheme of providing drinking water to every village. So during the first 4 years of some 5-year plan, the government has installed some tube wells, right? So in this case, the total number of tube wells installed, you can see it is 39,250. So out of the funds earmarked for natural calamities, you can see that there are two things, out of fund plan and out of natural calamities fund. So over here we are seeing the data year wise. So four periods are given over here. One is 1989 to 1990. Then we are seeing 1991 to 92. Then 93 to 94, 94 to 95. So this side, this is the caption, that is for the columns. We are seeing the number of tube wells which have been dug out of the fund plan and out of natural calamities fund. And here we are seeing the expenditure in lakhs as such which has taken place. So all that information which was given in the situation as such, it has been concised in the table and written in tabular form. So this type of a table, it is called as the original table. Now if this same table were to be represented in percentage or something like that, or in a ratio or making use of certain averages, then it would be called as a derived table. So next we will see the example of the derived table. So over here we can see that this is based on a sample study about coffee drinking habits in two towns, and the information which is received is like this. See, in town A, 40% are females and total coffee drinkers is 45%, and male non-coffee drinkers is 20%. Okay, so in town B we have 55% males and male non-coffee drinkers are 30% and female coffee drinkers are around 15%. So we have to represent this data in a tabular form. So first of all, we have got attribute. This attribute is coffee drinkers and non-coffee drinkers. Then we have got two towns, town A and town B, and in this we are having some information about the male and the female coffee drinkers. Okay, so you can just read this as male. So male, female, over here male, female, and this is the total. So out here the information which was given to us is that females are 40% and total coffee drinkers were how much? That is 45%. So coffee drinkers information what we are getting over here is 45 minus 5, that is equal to 40. Okay, and over here see how this information has come. In the second part we are getting 40 minus 35, that is equal to 5. So total we are getting as 45. Total coffee drinkers were 45. So here we got the total as 45. Then in this part what we are getting, that non-coffee drinkers, this is what is given to us, and male non-coffee drinkers were 20%. So the males, the men, this is 20%, right? And therefore this is going to be 55 minus 20, that is 35. So finally we are getting 100 minus 45, that is 55. Remember why we are doing like this? Because the data has been given to us in percentage. So here adding up these numbers, we have 60%, then we have here 40% females, and then finally total is 100. So coffee drinkers 45%, non-coffee drinkers as such 55%. See, in the data it is given to us females are 40% and total coffee drinkers were 45%. So like that way we have as such done this calculation. Similarly for town B also we have got that the males are 55% and male coffee drinkers were 30%. So in this manner we got the information about the coffee drinkers in town B. So it is suggested to you that you try to work out this calculation and see that how this has been done. So I hope that you are following the calculation. See once again. So in town B 55% are males. So here 55% is males, this one. Then male non-coffee drinkers were 30%. So this is that 30%, right? So coffee drinkers will obviously be that 55 minus 30, that will be 25. So like this way this column has been constructed. Now we are talking in terms of percentage, right? So this total, this plus this has to be 100. So if this is 55, then this has to be 45. So percentage of females is 45. Now it is given to us that the female coffee drinkers are 20%, are how much? 15%. So this is 15, this is 45. So the non-coffee drinkers, it will be obviously the subtraction, that will be 30. So in this way we are getting this 45. Now the sum total of all this is 40 and sum total of this is 60. So like this way, as such, this table has been completed. So such a table, it is called as a derived table. Likewise, one more time we will see this side also. What information was given to us? As such, females were 40%. That means this is that data. Females 40%. Then total coffee drinkers were 45%. That means this is that data. Total 45%. Okay. Now if this is 40, this total has got to be 100. So therefore this will be 60. And if this is 45, then this has got to be 55, because we are talking in terms of the percentage. Now we will start filling in the gaps over here. So the male non-coffee drinkers, they were 20%. So that is over here. So this is 60, this is 20, so this has to be 40. Now this is 45, this total is 45. So if it is 40 over here, therefore female coffee drinkers will be 5. Now this is 40, this is 5. So female non-coffee drinkers 35. And total of this is 55. Like this way we are getting 100. So I hope this was clear to you. Once again you can rewind the video, go to any section whichever you want, and again listen to the content.